Welcome in, Renegades. And as promised, today we are going to have a big interview with Easy Steve, co-founder of Toniq and Bionic marketplaces. This is the most exciting news on the internet computer today because Bitcoin is now interactable on a ordinals platform on the internet computer called Bionic. We are going to interview Steve about Bionic. We're going to go into Entrepot real quick and look at our Icp Renegades NFT project because we just created a meme coin for our Renegade project. So what we're going to do is airdrop this NFT, we're going to be doing an airdrop on, sorry, I have the wrong one here, on February 9th. And we are also giving meme tokens now. So as you see, here's our project, 227 ICP in volume, 25 listings, floor price 7.5. So the average price is 4.48 ICP, but basically any of these holders here are going to be getting any two they hold, they will get one NFT airdropped. And right now, every single wallet, that doesn't mean if you hold 12, you're just going to get one airdrop, but we're going to airdrop 50,000 RNGD tokens, which is a meme token we created for every wallet that holds. Now on March 9th, because February 9th, we're airdropping one NFT for two held. On March 9th, we're going to be airdropping 250,000 Renegade tokens to each NFT held. And right now that is somewhere around 70 million or so tokens. That leaves about the same for new holders. So if you get over here, you can get these before we airdrop the tokens. And this is Entrepot. They also have Toniq marketplace. I just use Entrepot because you can see our 3D NFTs right now here, but they will be adding that to Toniq as well very soon. I was talking with Easy Steve about this before, but you can see this any of these two places, Entrepot or Toniq. My internet's not working too great right now, so forgive me for that. I'm going to add Steve to the stage now. We're going to introduce him and kind of just give an overview of kind of what he's doing and anything else that he would like to say here. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me on today. Happy to be here. My name is Steve Erickson. You can find me as Easy Steve on Twitter, other socials. I'm one of the co-founders at Toniq Labs. We developed the Toniq marketplace as well as the more recent Bionic marketplace. We started this company about 2.5 years ago now, roughly. I think it was like August 2021 when we started working together, October 2021 when it became an official company. So it's been an exciting 2 years, working in the ICP ecosystem since Genesis. And we're pumped to keep moving the space forward in terms of like digital collectibles, digital ownership, supporting creators and continuing to grow the Web3 space. We have Toniq Marketplace, which is for it's just ICP NFTs, and then Bionic Marketplace, which is Bitcoin ordinals. And then also other versions of ICP NFTs, which we can get into in a little bit later, called reserved ordinals. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Man, that is cool. So let me just kind of ask about what you just said. You said you got in October 2021. This is after Genesis, right? So what kind of brought you to the internet computer? Because myself, it was Dominic Williams' vision, and also kind of like everybody was talking about it like in 2021 for a long time. It was all over my feed everywhere. But I didn't really get into it until I really researched the mission and kind of what they were doing and what they were building on the internet computer. How did you find it, and how did you get involved in the developer side of it? Because that's cool.
Yeah, so I was been involved in the ecosystem since May 2021, since the Genesis launch. You know, I was instantly attracted to it. Crypto was a hobby for me at the time. Wasn't something I did for work. I liked to, liquidity farm, mostly moving stuff around pools on other chains. And so when I saw a new chain was launching, I looked into it and I thought it was interesting. And so I started to get involved in the ecosystem through Telegram chats. One of the first two were like the Definity community Telegram chat and the ICP Maximalist Telegram chat. And so active in both of those. And then through those, I met Bob Bodley, who's our CEO and another co-founder. And then as well as actually through OpenChat, I was part of the OpenChat beta. And so what I did is I made a group called Only Steves. And I added everyone with the name Steve or Steven in their username to the group. And one of those people happened to be Steven Andrews, who is our CTO and co-founder as well. And so that's how I actually met him for the first time. And then, a few months later, we started working together, like on the Chronix launch, where we're helping Bob and I were helping Steven with the Chronix launch. He knows the first NFT on the IC. He wanted some extra hands to kind of just help with the Telegram and the community. We were running, OTC auctions and Telegram. And then over the next few months, things started to grow. And then it was in October 2021 that Toniq officially became a company, and we all went full-time working on the internet computer.
So do you have any background in developing? Like, how did that part happen?
Yeah, so my background's a little interesting. I've done a lot of stuff. I was an EMT. I was a paramedic. I studied athletic training, and then I went to business school for information systems. While I was in business school, I taught myself to program a little bit, at night. And I got a job from my professor gave me a job in IT as a programmer. I worked for Boston University on their online MBA. It was pre-COVID, right? And so they gave me this job and like, yeah, the online MBA, like it's like this cool, fun new project we have. And like, it wasn't like that many people had like eyes on it, but then COVID struck. And all of a sudden it was like, we need the online MBA. And it was like, oh man. So it got like a little hectic, but that was great. I went to school there. I loved working there. And then I was there for just a little over a year before Toniq started to take off. And then that's when I made the switch. I don't do it really. I was never a fantastic programmer, to tell you the truth. I can know that about myself. And so these days I do more of like the marketing, sales, working with creators a lot of the time. And that's what I really love to do. But having the background I do, I'm able to, understand the tech at a deep enough level and speak the language, right, which really helps when you're trying to translate certain things.
Yeah, and you helped me so much with the launch, man. I didn't know what I was doing, honestly. Like, I was just looking for guidance, and like, you really stepped up, and you saved my butt, because we almost had to scrap the whole project. If it wasn't for you, we probably would have.
Yeah, so my pleasure. We've done. I've helped with over 500 launches at this point, and so it's always fun to see one that is able to go off. It's nerve-wracking every time. I know for the creators as well as myself, yeah,
we just couldn't figure out why we couldn't upload those videos, and you got it figured out, man. And so that's cool, because I was told Toniq and Entrepot couldn't do 3D NFTs, and you're like, yeah, watch us, bro. I was like, hell yeah, that's fire, bro.
It's interesting because when you're with like if you were to launch on another blockchain, hosting wouldn't really be something you have to think too much about, right? You host on a Web2 platform that's, there's all this tooling built out and all this infrastructure, and the hosting's no problem. You're just, you're minting on the blockchain, and then you're having a pointer. The IC is different in that it is a lot harder to, it can host pretty much everything you can do on Web2. You could host anything, but that doesn't mean it's just as easy yet, especially as in the earlier days. It's only gotten easier, but it's quite a bit of work, to get big assets, different models, get that sort of stuff on chain, and then, have it render well. So
Let me just explain that too. So the only reason I said it was hard to launch is because we had a 3D NFT, right? So it's unlike any other, and there's a few like it, but unlike most of the NFTs out there, it's going to be a little more complicated. So if you're looking to launch an NFT, Toniq and Entrepot's the perfect place because one, you're probably not going to have a 3D NFT, so it's going to be a lot easier to upload. You can do it yourself probably without his help. And two, to be able to have the support of Toniq and Entrepot behind you, and the internet computer has all NFTs on chain. So I'm really curious though about Bitcoin and ckBTC, right? So I found it like almost unbelievable when Bob Bodley started talking about ordinals. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I love what you guys are doing now, but I was like, what are these guys doing? There's nobody that's going to want ordinals, but I didn't understand, like, and most people probably don't, how ordinals work and how easy it is to acquire them on Bionic. I thought it was going to be like this crazy process where you had to learn how to code or something and like go to school for 6 months to be able to buy a Bitcoin ordinal or something like that. Because when I've tried to like do other things like transfer Bitcoin directly from the blockchain over here, I couldn't figure it out. So I was thinking in my head, you know, it's going to be the same thing with ordinals. And then I found out it's not. So can you kind of explain Bitcoin ordinals and Bionic marketplace? Is this specifically for Bitcoin ordinals? Can you get other NFTs there? Just kind of go over what this marketplace is and what it does.
Sure. So Bitcoin ordinals started about a year ago, February last year. So I think almost exactly a year ago. Basically, Casey Rodmore is the guy that, you know, he's the brain behind it. And what you can do is you basically include data in a Bitcoin transaction. And then you take a single Satoshi, which is, you know, like a 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin. And then you use that SAT and you point it to that piece of data, whether it's text or image or video or whatever it is. And then you trade that single Satoshi. So Bitcoin is largely actually fungible. Like, you can track where each Bitcoin has been, each Satoshi has been. There's, you know, a ton of debate about the philosophy behind that, but basically you can track by using UTXOs where each SAT has been. And so that makes it possible to trade a single SAT between multiple people, just like you would an NFT. That SAT points to this image. And so by owning that SAT, you then own the pointer to that image in the same way you would own a hash of an NFT on your Ethereum or your ICP address. And so the internet computer released the Bitcoin integration, which basically there's a Bitcoin light node running on the internet computer. You have, you know, private keys distributed across the Bitcoin subnet. And then this allows for smart contracts to create Bitcoin addresses, receive, hold, and send Bitcoin themselves in a decentralized way. And what we did is we built, you know, the biggest step in all this was building the ordinals wrapper. So if you think of like ckBTC, which is like we can kind of jump into that too, but it's a wrapped Bitcoin that's built using a smart contract where you send Bitcoin to this internet computer smart contract. The smart contract mints you ckBTC, which is an ICRC1 token, just like, you know, just like chat token or Sonic token. And then you can trade that and then exchange it for Bitcoin at any time. We basically did the same thing, but with Bitcoin ordinals. So there's more SAT control, basically, is like the core difference, where you send your one SAT, your ordinal, to the smart contract. And then what it does is it mints you an ICP NFT. And then using that wrapped ICP NFT and ckBTC, you can now trade. You can trade much faster and with extremely low fees. You know, ordinals took off, and I mean, we were interested in it. I think we saw a lot of promise in it from day one. Bitcoin has a existing reputation, so like with a lot of new chains, you have to build up your reputation before the NFT ecosystem can kind of take off. That's like a normal cycle. Bitcoin's been around forever. The NFT ecosystem is just new. So didn't have much reputation building, if any, that it really needed to do for it to be successful. And so I think we saw that, and we dived in and we started working on it almost right away. Just the potential between these two blockchains was, too good to pass up on.
Yeah, and I follow Bob Bodley, and so I kind of saw the progression of this, from him talking about ordinals before this marketplace even existed.
Yeah.
I followed Bob for a long time, and I followed your channel too. You guys still do anything over there on Toniq Market on your YouTube?
We haven't done YouTube stuff in a little while. We'll probably start bringing it back with, I think a lot of our focus, and we can talk about this too, is going to move more towards Bionic for both ICP NFTs and for ordinals in general. But yeah, we have some great content coming out. A lot of it is Bionic focused.
Good. So you're
YouTube, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
You're going to teach people how to use it over there. So what we're doing here is letting people be aware of Bionic, and you can show your screen like a little bit later and then kind of talk about it. But what we want to do is educate people here about these marketplaces, get them to go to the people who know what they're doing and can give them guidance, like you and, Bob and stuff that built this place. So that's why I was asking if you're doing content, and Bionic would be a good thing because you already have, like, all the content you did was to let people know how to use Entrepot, right? Yeah. And Toniq IO now. And so it makes sense that you would do some stuff with Bionic as well. So I really think that's very integral into having these platforms, is having people know how to use them successfully.
Yep, so. Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of video tutorials, demos, all that fun stuff. I usually shoot those myself. I kind of get a kick out of it. It's not something you get to do often, like video editing or anything. So I actually kind of enjoy it when it does come up as an opportunity.
Right. That's the passion. That's why I do what I do, man, because I've worked a lot of jobs in my life. So I haven't really told people my past, but I used to be a painter. I used to be fast food worker. I've done door-to-door sales. Like, I traveled to 38 states selling magazines door-to-door. But I never found anything that I was truly passionate about. I wasn't passionate about painting. I wasn't passionate. I liked knocking doors when I was younger because I was like, I had hella energy and just needed to go out and do something. But like, as you get older, the dream is to have a job that you love, right? Because then it's not working.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where you and I are at right now, like just kind of on the different side. And I'm exploring the developer side too, but you're also on the content side a little bit. So like, I'm more on the content side, you're more on the developer side. I'm more on the content side, working with developers. So I think that we need both type of people in the ecosystem, the people driving people to these places and then people teaching them how to use it. It's so important.
Yeah. It takes a village. Absolutely.
For sure. So if you want to share your screen, or if there's anything else you want to talk about first about Bionic, and just kind of maybe give your role in Bionic as co-founder, and kind of Bob's role as well, since unfortunately he couldn't be here, but that's okay. Glad to have you instead. So.
Yeah, so I'll say Bob's our CEO. So he does wear a lot of hats in terms of everything from content creation to just organizing everything we do, from development to marketing, talking to investors. He's a machine. I really don't know how, like I just was telling you before the call, I don't know how he does this job with 4 kids. Like, I don't think he sleeps. I think there's 2 of them and they just switch off, every 12 hours.
Right.
But my roles, I've been largely focused on the creator side since Toniq, and now going into Bionic as well. So I'm the one that's usually managing the launches on the marketplace through Bionic. I'm going to be Bionic launchpad, which is coming soon, is going to start as curated. So we do have an application out that I can share with you, and we can post later if anyone wants to check it out. And so that is open, and we're looking through applications right now and starting to reach out to creators, see what they're interested in, and see if they're interested in launching a project using reserved ordinals. And so I think that's actually a perfect segue into reserved ordinals, these are interesting because this is a new token type, really, that we've come up with that leverages both the internet computer and Bitcoin. And so what it is, and this is how our launchpad will work. is when you go to the Bionic launchpad and you buy from a project, you will receive a reserved ordinal, which is an ICP NFT that gives the holder the rights to inscribe that image onto Bitcoin and then own that ordinal. Now, technically, anyone could inscribe it, but only the owner would be able to get it. And so that's kind of getting more into the details of it. It's not public right now to do that, but it is something that can be done. So if you wanted to like inscribe your whole project, but I digress. Basically, you buy that reserved ordinal, you can list it on the marketplace, you could send it to another wallet, send it to a friend. It's not entirely immutable at that point because it's on the internet computer, meaning it can be upgraded. It can be changed depending on what the project wants to do. And then it can be bought and sold. And then if at a certain point you want to inscribe it, right, you go and you'd use Bitcoin, not ckBTC, but Bitcoin, and then you'd put that image on the blockchain. And then the original token you had doesn't change, but it changes, like in theory, it changes from a reserved ordinal to a wrapped ordinal. So now you can exchange that token for the unwrapped version into your normal Bitcoin address.
And so yeah, the ordinal though, so I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. I want people to understand the ordinal. So the ordinal never changes. So the ordinal on the Bitcoin, and it can't be bought or sold on Bitcoin, right? Is that?
Sure. Yeah, it could. So if you once you've inscribed, it is now a Bitcoin ordinal. So you could either list the wrapped version on Bionic and trade it for ckBTC, or you could unwrap it to your wallet and list it on any other marketplace that supports Bitcoin ordinals.
Damn.
So yeah. It's super easy.
That's cool.
And the interesting thing is when you inscribe, the inscribing is changing it from mutable to immutable. So your asset goes from being upgradable to now being locked. It's set in stone. You can't change it once it's on Bitcoin. And so to kind of showcase this, I can share my screen for this because I have one up here. Okay. We launched this project called, let me see here. Here we go. Can you see the screen?
Not yet. 1 second. Okay. Now.
You can see Lilu?
Yes.
Okay, so we launched this project called OP Kitten to kind of showcase how this works. And so this is a reserved ordinal. I could list it on the marketplace. I could send it to someone, or I could come here and I could try and level it up. And so how this works is I just click level up. Again, this is all in the IC at this point. So it's tokenless, gasless interactions. It is still, posting it to the blockchain and it's updating everything on the blockchain. But there is a 16% chance that this kitten will die when I level it up. And in honor of Bitcoin, you go from level 0 to level 21. And so this little text down here is part of the, Bipland, a little nod to Bipland, their roadmap. And then there are 100,000 of these out there. And then there's something like 25,000 unique cat names we found online.
Dang.
And so we did a free claim, again, tokenless claim, where you can come in and everyone was able to grab 10 of them. You could buy them on the marketplace. But then if at a certain point I said, maybe I get them to level 21, or I wanted to stop at level 2 or level 3,
right,
I could come here and I could just inscribe it. And so this would be inscribing it onto the Bitcoin network. And then this cat would be locked at level 3 forever.
Okay.
It would get an official inscription ID. I could list it on Bionic. I could unwrap it. And I could list it on, Magic Eden's ordinal marketplace, or on OpenOrdex or any other ordinals wallet, any of the other ordinal marketplaces like Gamma. There's a bunch out there that support just normal inscriptions.
Can Can you share the link to that real quick in the private chat here, and then I'll post it in the chat so that people know how to go over there. And so if your cat dies, you lose the ordinal?
No, so here, actually, I should have shown you that. Let me show you. I have a couple of items here, I think.
Because I don't understand like that. So when it dies, does it stop at that level? Or just explain that.
Yeah, so if yours were to die, that one I showed made it farther than I had expected. They usually don't make it that far. So when they die, so you go from level 3 to level 4, you say, this is what you'll get if you fall into the 16. I don't know if you can see my screen yet, but you get a little gravestone with your cat's name. And this, you could still inscribe this, there's nothing saying you couldn't put this on Bitcoin or buy and sell these. There's still tokens, there's still NFTs. It is a combination of upgradable NFTs with then the option to make it super immutable. I mean, nothing is like more immutable than Bitcoin. Someone might disagree with me on that, but it's pretty close.
I think that's crazy because that means that if you can get your cat to the highest level, that is going to be worth the most, because the chances of you getting, you said 16 is the highest?
There's 21 levels, and there's
21,
a 16% chance that your cat won't make it between each level.
So that means that level 21, I mean, are there any level 21? That's going to be so hard to get to without
there's a couple out there. We released 100,000 of these, and it was a free claim. Last I checked, there were a good number of level 21s. People were really going through them and trying to level them up. I got one to level 21, but I was lucky. Normally, I think we did the math. You'd have to do like 50, like one in every 50 would make it all the way up. I got one in like my first 10. So I was pretty pumped about that. Once you get to level 20, and then it gets stressful. But it was just really, we did it as more of like, we rolled that out pretty quick, more of a demonstration of what can be done. Like you could imagine going from there, like the amount of possibilities are limitless in terms of having, especially for like small gamified projects that are released at completion, right? Like when you just go for something that's as easy as, you level it up, you make it or you don't. And then there's tons of different variations on that you could do. Like you could do one where, maybe everyone starts with an NFT that doesn't have any clothes, no traits, a little bunny or something. And then you can, buy random traits for 50 cents. And then if you don't like those traits, you can cycle them again for $1. And then maybe it's $2, $4. And so how much are you willing to spend to try and get the combination of traits that you want? There's a lot of interesting ways you could do that when you have, different layers that can be changed, and you have an NFT that can be upgraded, and then at a certain point made immutable. I think it's so cool. I love it so much.
Man, God, see, that's why I'm really careful at not looking at things and just judging them by what I see and hear without doing research, because I did it with crypto like in 2015 or something, 2016. I was like, yeah, that's internet funny money. And then in 2020, I did my research and I was like, yeah, that was foolish of me, to go off of just my thought, not doing research. And that's the same thing with Bitcoin ordinals. I was like, this is just going to be a fad. You can't even buy or sell them. You can't move wallets. That's how because I didn't do my research. I didn't understand it. And so like you guys rolling out Bionic, this is just a great video because I think people need to understand how these things work and having different ordinals. So not all of them level up like that, right? That's just this specific, or is it all of them?
Yeah. So the only way we're able to do this is with the internet computer. There might be some projects out there that have done similar things where it's like you can kind of level up your asset, but I don't think anyone's been able to do it in a as decentralized way as we have been. I mean, it's definitely not 100% decentralized at this point, but it's getting closer. And
I just meant on Bionic Market.
Oh no, this is the first one. This is just a project that our team put together in a couple days to just kind of something fun, proof of concept, show how it works, and since then, I mean, we've had a number of teams reach out to us with like really cool ideas that, they got from something like this. So I'm really excited to see what, the community comes up with, because, we're not the super creative ones, like these artists that are out there that have been doing this their whole lives, that have this vision, that just not a lot of people have. So I'm excited to see what they can do with it and what they come up with.
Yeah, and so we're considering launching a Bitcoin ordinal for our NFT collection, but I just don't want to do everything too fast, and I know like I'm gonna need some guidance for that. So if a new project did want to launch on Bionic, what would we need to do that? Do I just do the same thing as like Entrepot? And go through that process? Is it a different process? Do I have to actually get the SAT, inscribe the NFT, and do all that myself? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, great question. So it's definitely different from Entrepot Toniq market right now. Toniq market we have a permissionless launchpad right now, so anyone can just go into the tool and upload their assets and select their pricing, start date, end dates, and Bionic will use all the same market or launchpad code. So the code has been 500 launches with that code. We've now just basically reworked it to support ckBTC and then the reserved ordinal version of the EXT NFT token. But no, so actually as a creator, if you wanted to launch through Bionic, our launchpad, we're going to start launching projects very soon. This was our first one that we did a free claim for. If you go on the Bionic Twitter, and we'll post this again too, there is a tweet from Bob with a link to a Launchpad application. We haven't pushed it out super hard yet to a lot of people, but it is out there. You can find it. And we're starting to get some apps rolling in. And so we're at this stage, it's going to be curated and selected. So, couple projects a month, most likely. I'd say a good handful, hopefully, at least at the beginning. As we get rolling, start slow, focus on quality. I'll say the biggest difference between our launchpad and another ordinals launchpad is the fees required. So if there's two ways to launch an inscription project, not including ours. So two ways that exist right now that everyone's doing. Either you as the creator pre-inscribe, so take your assets, upload them to Bitcoin, and then sell those inscriptions that have already been inscribed. This is the most expensive way to do it, because you as a creator need to pay all the fees associated with your collection. If you're doing a 10K collection, it's a lot of money. I mean, you're spending about $1 per kilobyte on an asset, right? On one asset that's being uploaded. So it can cost you thousands of dollars, $10,000, $20,000, depending on the size of your collection and the size of your assets, even more. The other way is to have the user, when they mint, they pay the Bitcoin inscription fees. This is one of the more popular ways right now, where the creator doesn't have to inscribe, but the user does have to inscribe at that point in time, right? Now, what we've done is we've instead tokenized the rights to inscribe. So you're buying the rights to inscribe that image. You could sell that, or you could transfer it, or you could wait until there is a low in the mempool and fees are lower, and then you could go and inscribe it whenever you're ready. Definitely thinking about inscription incentives for projects that want to incentivize users to inscribe. So this could be something like maybe you can't list them after a month if they're not inscribed, or the image isn't revealed until you inscribe it, but it's still tradable. So there's a lot of other, things going on. I know I think about it all the time of cool stuff we could do to make it, as good an experience as possible, depending on what the project wants and what their needs are.
Right. So this process is just interesting to me. It sounds complicated, but it's actually pretty easy. So it's more complicated, like you said, and more expensive to do it on the Bitcoin network. I think what your Bionic marketplace is doing is taking like this really expensive, kind of, very difficult thing and kind of dumbing it down, making it cheaper. And the internet computer is really good at that, making things cheaper and faster and just more simple to use, because of the capability of the Canister smart contracts. What are the benefits of Canister smart contracts when it comes to using ordinals over, say, however you would do it on Bitcoin, right? Because you have so many more fees. Is it only the gas fees and the time, or is there other benefits to doing this on the internet computer, like more capabilities, stuff you were talking about like that?
Yeah, so I'll say it's there's trade-offs in everything. Whenever you interact with the Bitcoin blockchain, you're going to pay Bitcoin's fees. So whether you're inscribing a 10K collection up front or you're inscribing using reserved ordinals over time, it's still, you could maybe get fees down a little bit if people are sniping lows in the mempool with reserved ordinals. For the most part, those fees are actually going to be very similar. Where you start to save money is on the secondary market, right? And so as we've seen over the past year, as ordinals have launched, like some of the highs, all-time highs in the mempool, like fees have been crazy. It cost a fortune sometimes just to trade, one or two ordinals that may not even be listed at the amount that the gas fees are. And so as the ecosystem grows, fees are only going to get more expensive. This is, to be expected, and it's a good thing. That's how we keep people mining Bitcoin. That's, the incentive for those blocks to be mined. So the fees need to go up. Now, that doesn't mean that everything needs to go through the mempool. I think focus the Bitcoin, spending on inscribing, like putting the artwork on Bitcoin. Boom, like get it all in there. The more the better, keep fees high, but also not impossible to trade. And then what you can do is you start having the wrapped version of the token, which is still on Bitcoin, but it's just if you have like something that's, that's worth less than the gas fees are, or even if you want to just trade a lot of them and you don't want to spend thousands of dollars in fees, that's where the layer 2 comes in, and it helps scale so that the ecosystem can grow, people can still get in, and it only helps, push up, what the miners are making, I think, in the long run. And so that's kind of the larger vision, is that as Bitcoin grows, doing every little transaction on the Bitcoin network doesn't really become feasible. You want to use Bitcoin for, big transactions, for whatever is really the most important. Like, it doesn't need to be every little thing doesn't need to go through Bitcoin.
Yeah, I agree. So I was going to argue with you that the fees needed to go up for a second, but then when I started to think, like I was thinking the whole time you were talking about that, and I'm like, wait, maybe he's right. Because if we have a layer 2, such as the internet computer, and the fees are non-existent for dApps and minute for transactions, then it's okay if Bitcoin's gas fees go to the moon, because you can use a layer 2 like the internet computer to interact with Bitcoin, for so much cheaper. And you did say that there's some fees associated with dealing with Bitcoin on the internet computer that could be considerable to Bitcoin, right? Is that how I understood it?
Yeah. So anytime an IC smart contract sends unwrapped Bitcoin, it's going to pay Bitcoin's fees, and those are going to go to miners. So if your ckBTC is an ICRC1 token, that Bitcoin is never leaving that internet computer address. It's staying right there. So there's no fees to be paid because it's never being moved. You're just having the other token that's being moved around. When a smart contract starts sending unwrapped Bitcoin between different smart contracts, which is, largely what the BTC integration was built to do, and I think it's so cool. That's right. All those, you're paying Bitcoin fees, because that is a fee on a Bitcoin transaction. It's no different than like a huge multi-sig with
Right.
like extra security that's then making Bitcoin transactions. It's just the same fees you'd pay from your normal wallet.
That's cool, because that confused me. I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm paying Bitcoin fees on the internet computer. No, you're only paying Bitcoin fees when you swap between the two. You can actually interact with ckBTC on the internet computer by trading ICP for ckBTC, and then you can interact with the ordinals that way, and it won't cost you any Bitcoin fees. So yeah, let's let the Bitcoin fees go way up. The only problem with that would be if you are trying to mint the ordinals on the internet computer and you need to move. But that would be like a one-time thing, right? You kind of have to move it over. So
exactly, you only inscribe once, whether you're inscribing, wrapping, or unwrapping. That's Bitcoin or ordinals. You're going to pay Bitcoin fees.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's everywhere, but you don't have like that bridge fee too, that extra fee that goes with, wrapping it sometimes, or that big fee that goes with it. I hate that.
I know on the NNS, I think they obscure it a little bit. I could be wrong. I have to check, but you're definitely, when you're wrapping or unwrapping the ckBTC, you're definitely paying the Bitcoin fee. I'm not sure exactly how it works. It's not super massive, but it is a good chunk, because that Bitcoin has to move, from your wallet to the smart contract address. But it's only a one-time thing. Then every time you send that ckBTC around, and that allows the ecosystem to grow. It allows more people to keep inscribing. It allows more people to get in. As without like Bitcoin fees growing up, is one of the best things that's happened to Bitcoin. With ordinals, I think as like every 4 years, the rewards for miners get cut in half. And so the only way they make money is through transaction fees, right? Especially as it gets lower and lower. If there's not enough transaction fees on Bitcoin, then who is going to mine it? No one. And the network will just kapoof, because it won't be profitable anymore. And so when you have something like ordinals that comes in, it gives people a new reason to really start to spend and move Bitcoin around. You're going to want something else like a layer 2 to help scale that, so it can just become even bigger.
That's so interesting how so mining Bitcoin and the transaction fees. So every 10 minutes there's 6.75 blocks mined. But that's different than the mining fees, right? Those are two separate things, or are they the same?
So that's a good question. I'm not a super expert on Bitcoin itself, I'll tell you the truth. But if you're mining a block, you're going to get the fees that, the non-transaction fees. So when you send a Bitcoin transaction, you select, how much you want to pay, like sats per VB. And then that determines your priority in the order of transactions. Mm-hmm. And then those fees go to the miners. I don't remember if it's only the person that mined the block, or if it's different. I'm not claiming to be a super expert on how that works exactly.
Well, I've done a lot of research on it, and I'm not 100% sure on that. So don't worry, I'm Bitcoin Renegade.
He would know.
Who, Bob?
Bob would know.
Of course he would.
So, what I do know enough of is that if you're those people that are mining Bitcoin, they make money from the Bitcoin block rewards, which get cut in half every 4 years, and they also make money from the fees that are being paid to prioritize those transactions into the next block. And so, if fees are really low, and the block rate just rewards keep getting cut in half every 4 years, it needs to balance out. The fees need to go up to balance the lesson in rewards.
Of course. And I just can't believe you guys are like the forefront of this. We're going to look back at this one day and see the biggest ecosystem, see like 100 different NFT marketplaces, integration with OpenSea. I mean, we have Ethereum now. And so OpenSea is only a stone's throw away from being interactable on the internet computer. Are you guys ever thinking about integrating Toniq or Bionic with any other marketplace to be able to have like cross-chain compatibility? Because internet computer is a multi-chain world computer, right? So it only makes sense that NFTs go cross-chain as well.
Yeah, I think, I like cross-chain and multi-chain. Like, I think it makes sense. I think the future of Web3 is not going to be a, mono chain. It's impossible. Like, you need you need different layer ones and layer twos to do different things. There is no one blockchain that's best for everything. I really strongly believe that. I think we need multiple layer ones because not everything is best for that app or for that project or for that person or what they're doing it for. And so, yeah, our roadmap again is constantly evolving. And so no like hard set plans for anything super specific right now, but we are definitely, as you can see through Bionic, like we're interested in cross-chain and multi-chain. And so, with the ETH integration come out, we'll see what sort of comes of that. If there's anything we want to do there, there's a lot that can be done. Right now, our focus is Bitcoin and the IC, but I think that will continue to expand, where it makes sense too.
Right. And I hope I just gave you an idea, bro. I hope you take this back to the team and be like, hey, Bitcoin Renegade just, mentioned cross-chain NFTs besides ordinals. Let's look at OpenSea. I don't know, man. Maybe not. But.
We'll cut you in.
Hey, just say that I was the idea man. That's it.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, so we're about 45 minutes into this. If anybody has any questions real quick, we had a lot of great comments up here. Damien, this is the smartest comment that we had on here in a while. We need ICP marketing. That's what we need.
I will say if you have been involved in the IC for, since May 2021, as long as a lot of us have, the change in attitude that we've seen has been phenomenal. Like I remember when it was nothing but hate. You'd have to find some small Telegram group of people that understood in it and believed in it in order to have a reasonable conversation. Like you couldn't do it anywhere else. That has changed so much. And I think that's, it's due to a lot of reasons. A lot of great people in the ecosystem. I think, Definity's done a great job. Like you have to remember they're trying to recover from like one of the most hurtful reputation hits in like the history of crypto, and the network's still running, and it's still growing, and so it's only up from here. Like it may not feel like we're on top of the world, but God, it's so much better than where it was when we first launched in May 2021. It's like night and day. So,
yeah, but you guys had some huge guys behind you though, Ludo, Agito, to launch on your platform and really give you guys. And plus your platform was awesome too though. Like I loved Entrepot from day one. Like Yummy and Entrepot were like my two go-tos. There was another one that NNS DAO did, but that didn't really take off. But I just love what you guys are doing. I want to thank you for being on the show today. This was great. Hopefully we can have you or Bob back on here soon, to kind of go over where you guys are at that point, because I just can't wait to see what you do. This is all very new. This is all very exciting. Bitcoin Renegades. So like, this is my jam now that I know about ordinals. I'm definitely going to be holding a few myself, and maybe we could do like a giveaway of some ordinals to the community, or I don't know. Just the possibilities are endless, but I just have so many ideas now of how to interact with this kind of technology that we really haven't seen since, you said, what, 1 year ago.
Yeah.
This came out and people realized they could use a Satoshi to make an order. That just blows my mind, man. Using one Satoshi to inscribe like an NFT type deal on Bitcoin. It's crazy. And this kind of thing wasn't even thought about in 2017, 2018, so if there's anything that you'd like to say, we're going to call it a day. Wait, we have a couple questions. Sorry. Sure. My screen just updated. Let's see. Does the Bitcoin community understand ckBTC, or do they, or do they think it's just another bridge?
Yeah, so I'll say the Bitcoin community is a lot more open-minded than you'll find in other layer ones, right? The lack of smart contracts is one big factor in this. Is that people who work on Bitcoin are always looking for a good solution to what they're trying to build, and they know that that's not necessarily on Bitcoin. You could do stuff with PSBTs, but it's limiting. And so people are pretty open-minded about that. Also, most of the ordinals community comes from other NFT ecosystems that are existing. And so the fact that they were willing to move, or not move, but to get involved in another ecosystem you don't do that if you're a closed-minded maximalist, right? You really just don't. And so because of the nature of Bitcoin and the composition of the community, you have probably one of the best environments to introduce something like ckBTC. I will say the marketing around ckBTC is I think it's a little all over the place. Like, it is a bridge, it's I think it's great when people say it's not a bridge, because it's a decentralizized bridge, but I do believe it's very much so a bridge. And so to not call it that, I think, is a little misleading. It is a decentralized bridge. And so people understand that. Once you start looking into it and you read the documentation, anyone who's putting, a couple of minutes of effort in to check it out, they're going to understand that, and they understand the value of it. And they're pretty accepting of new solutions like that.
I like that you're straight up, bro. Like, we need people, not just fluffing the air, but like saying some real legit stuff. I love that, man. That takes some stones on you there. But yeah, no, it is.
Someone's gonna get mad at me for that, but it's okay.
No, man. Speak your truth, bro. Because that's what's true. It really is a bridge. But what it is a trustless bridge. So it is a bridge where you only have to trust the smart contract. You don't have to trust a person. So I think that's where their idea came, saying that it's not a bridge because bridges get hacked and they're third party and stuff like that. But man, you made a really good argument that kind of changed when you started to say that, I was like, nah, bro, it's not a bridge. And then you explained it the way you did. And yeah, it's a trustless bridge. It's a smart contract bridge where you don't have to trust the person or trust that it won't get hacked, right? You'd have to hack the internet computer smart contract, which that's not how they do a lot of other things with I know they use smart contracts for bridges, but not, I think, on each side of the bridge, right? They use a smart contract here, but they have to do stuff in the middle manually. Yeah. And so the internet computer, the bridge here to the bridge here, this is the smart contract platform, not a person. So thank you for explaining it like that, man. That kind of changed my whole idea of what integration truly is, man. A lot of them think that it's a bridge, so we all do, because that's what we've been told, that it wasn't. Everything is bridges and the internet computer wasn't, but it is. It's a trust.
Yeah, I think it's a very decentralized. It's probably the best. I don't know of any other better bridging solution out there. But it's also the easiest way to explain it, because that's at its core what a bridge is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a trustless way to escrow assets and then receive a bridged asset, which is what ckBTC is, to trade it. And so Dfinity and the internet computer has just done that the best. And so using terminology that people are familiar with is just, I think, a lot easier when talking to the Bitcoin community, telling them, it is a decentralized smart contract based bridge. And then you go into explain that keys are distributed across the Bitcoin subnet, they're refreshed. You'd have to hack into 45 different nodes within 10 seconds of each other to get private keys. So it's something like that. Don't quote me on that, but
but what you're saying is basically impossible. The only way they would be able to do it is have 45 different people, or however many it is, different people hacking each one, or have some kind of different thing that goes into each server or node center provider and hack those.
Or the whole network colludes, but that's with any blockchain,
Yeah, that's not going to happen though. It's too decentralized at this point. So I think that's about all we're going to have. Thank you again for coming on. I'd love to connect with you more outside of the video. So definitely keep in touch and just, keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course, we need more people like you on the channel, in the space. Easy Steve, bro. You're one of the easiest people to get along with, man. I think that's why that's your name, because you're just easy to get along with. I
appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, guys. That being said, goodbye and good ICP. Bang! Sorry about